Hey, good evening guys, Tosh coming at you. It's Monday, May the 7th and just about 7 p.m. And I thought I would come out tonight and unpack the rest of the Surrey top. And I'm going to see if I've got all the hardware that I require to attach this to the car. Sean, the gentleman that I bought it from, I think has packed a little bit hardware kit in one of the boxes. So we're going to continue opening the boxes to be able to get the hardware. So I'll go over the definitions of this Surrey top a little bit more as we unpack. As I'd mentioned, or maybe I didn't mention, this piece is called the backlight. This is the center section of the hard roof panel. So the backlight and the hard roof panel, they actually call this a hard top for this car. And if you're looking at this section over here, which is the fabric section with the metal framework, which I'll unpack and show you, this is the actual Surrey section. So this is why they call it a Surrey top. It's because of this fabric section. So anyway, we'll unpack this carefully and I'll give you a quick shot before we move it in the house. Okay, so there's the fiberglass section of the top, the hard top, unpacked. And these originally would have been either in steel or more rarely they would have been in aluminum. The aluminum ones are very, very expensive and hard to find. Anyway, as mentioned, this is an aftermarket top, so this is fiberglass. Anyway, it looks to be in great shape. Seals look good, so yeah. Be interested to see it on the car eventually. Again, this will be painted the color of the car, so it'll be royal blue. So we'll paint this when we paint the car. Anyway, looking good so far. We'll unpack the other two packages. Alright, and here is the soft section, the Surrey section of the Surrey top. And this one's looking in great shape. It's a black canvas. It's upgraded from the original material. It's also got an upgraded front capping. So this is interesting. Sean's made some modifications on this to actually use, I believe, a TR6 front rail. So to make it a little bit quicker to put up. So let's see, it's missing one of the catches here. We'll have a look for that. I think I've got an extra one anyway if required. But anyway, there is the center Surrey section. I've got one more package, which will be the bows. So we'll unpack that. And the last part of the Surrey section are the bows. So they are here in front of me, and you can see they're sort of collapsible. They fold in. Again, these have been slightly modified. This, I believe, is a rear rail that fits inside the canvas backing, and it's got little thumb screws, I believe, to hold it there. So yeah, so there's the rest of the Surrey top, and yeah, looking good. So I'm excited to get that on the car. Anyway, got to clean the garage now. We've got lots of packing materials to get rid of. As per usual, that's the most difficult part, is getting rid of the stuff that it's delivered in. And this was the little package I was actually looking for as far as the hardware is concerned. I'm going to call these J hooks. And these are for the rear backlight fastening. So there are hooks molded into the fiberglass back here, like a long rail sort of that's molded into the fiberglass. And these hooks hook onto the rail, and it allows you to locate this fastener to drop through the body tub and to fasten from underneath. So it gives you a little bit of play as you can move this along the rail in order to line up the holes. So one for each side and one for the center. So that's good. I'm glad we've got these. They're important to keep the back of the backlight down. Someday I'll have to show you my upstairs parts room. I've got a TR6 hardtop, a TR3 hardtop, and now we're going to have a Surrey top for a TR250 up in the same room. So it's glorious. Tuesday night, not out here to do any work. I thought I'd just grab an ice cream and come out and visit and just have a look at the car. I like looking at the car every now and then, just having a look. We'll look for our next little bit of work that we need to do. I think it's going to probably be on the B-post. I've got some repairs to do on that side that I couldn't do when I had the wooden rotisserie bucks on. So I'm going to have to pull the fender off, and I think I'll have to pull the door off on this side in order to get to the B-post repair section that I need to repair. So I think we'll work on removing the fender and removing the door, and able to do that. We'll get ready. Okay, the door and the fender off, so we're having a look at that B-post area that I was talking about. So this is a previous repair done by the previous owner, and as you can see, sorry about the light, let's see if I can situate that on the ground a little bit better. So what he's done here is he's just made a bottom patch for this A post. Actually, sorry, it's not the B post, it's the A post. I think I said B post. So the A post has a cap on the bottom of it, and you can see he hasn't welded across this seam here. Didn't do a very good repair, obviously, as per usual on this car, but we need to maybe grind this up a little bit better. And obviously we'll finish weld here all the way along. We'll grind this up, clean this up, and finish weld here and grind that down as best as possible. So I think it's not bad structurally, but it definitely could use a little welding here. Could use a little welding here as well. And I've got a little small pinhole up here that I need to fix, and just a little bit at the top here. So my welding's definitely not done yet. I knew I was going to be able to find some more spots to do before it goes to the blaster. And obviously I'll probably find a few spots when it comes back from the blaster, but we'll fix what we can fix. Like I said, I always knew this was here, but I couldn't really get to it with the wooden rotisserie in the way. So we'll fix this now while we can, and then we'll move on to another area. I know I still need to weld in that sill cap, the end of the sill cap on the driver's side. That's another area I couldn't get to with the wooden bucks on, so we can do that as our next job. We do know that we're going to have to eventually weld up these holes here. I'm not sure why these holes were here. It might have been Z-barred at one point. These might have had plugs in it. These are the holes that we created to attach the wooden bucks. So those will have to be welded up too once it comes back from the blasters. Anyway, so yeah, still some more welding to do. We'll get back out here tomorrow and finish up on this area. Alright guys, Wednesday night, just coming up to 8:45, and I'm going to call this the no power hour because I'm pretty tired. Anyway, we've come out to do an hour on the car. We are going to continue on this area that I spoke about last night. So this will be our little task for tonight. If I can get this welded up, I'll be happy. So what we're going to do is we're going to break out the grinder first and clean up this area here so we have something clean to weld to. Then we'll do a little bit of welding along here, a little bit of grinding, and we'll call that the power hour for tonight. So better to be out here than sitting on the couch. So who wants to make a bet? So am I going to be able to fill these with weld, or is it just going to make a big mess and open up a big can of worms in this area? So stay tuned. Hopefully we'll just be able to drop a few spots of weld in there, but I'm not holding my breath. It feels fairly solid, but it's on a pretty structural piece there, so who knows, maybe we'll be able to get lucky. Anyway, we've ground off this and cleaned this up on the edge here, so we're just going to run a bead of weld all the way around, and then we'll grind it down flush. It doesn't interfere with the hinge, or it doesn't interfere currently, so we'll make sure that in the future as well that we grind it down fairly close to this edge so it doesn't actually interfere with that bottom of that hinge. Alright, it's not pretty, but it's welded. It looks like we've got some brazing in here. You can see a lot of there's a lot of spattering here in this area. I think the rest of it's okay. Anyway, we'll grind it down and see how she looks. I did manage to fill up these two spots up here, but again, let's grind that down and see how we do. Hopefully we won't make the surrounding metal very thin, and we might get away with that little patch there. So let's break out the grinder. Alright guys, I think the power hour is done. We managed to clean this area up and weld up. There was a bit of a crack there. There's a bit of a hole here that we've welded up, so that's looking pretty solid now. We also fixed that hole here. There was two little holes there that you remember. And we've now welded this tight and ground it down. Hopefully the hinge will still fit there. If not, I can do a bit more grinding with the Dremel if need be, but that definitely looks a lot better than an open seam there. So we're going to call that good until we see what comes back from sandblasting. Who knows what's going to be below this sealer here, but we'll let the sandblaster dig that out, and we'll see what's behind there. Other than that, I think that's it for tonight, and we'll probably get back out here tomorrow. Have a good night. Good morning guys, Tush coming at you. It's 11:15 on Friday the 11th of May, and my first day of vacation. I'm off till next Tuesday. Next weekend for us is a long weekend up here, so I thought I would make it a little longer by tacking on a week's vacation ahead of that. I managed to squeeze a week in, which is good. So that'll be a combination of some family time and some working on the cars. And today I'm on my way up to storage. I've got a fresh battery packed. I've got some booster cables. I've got a battery charger. I've got a booster pack. I got a VOM meter, a bunch of other stuff on board. and we are going to start some cars, or start a car at least, and move a few things around up in storage. So that's what we're doing today, and we'll take you along for the ride. All right, we're at the super secret storage location, and we'll crack the doors open for the first time this spring. Alright, needs a good sweep out. We've had a lot of windstorms here recently, and we have this styrofoam insulation on the ceiling that doesn't like to exactly stay up there when it's windy, so a little styrofoam debris on the ground. But other than that, yeah, looks like we got a bird in here. That's why I've got the tarp on the TR7, or sorry, TR8, and not sure where that's coming from, but anyway, we'll get them uncovered and see what we can fire up. I definitely want to fire the TR6 up, so we'll work on that first. Still looks pretty good in here, although you can see that we did get a little bit of visitation from mice over the winter. You can see some droppings there. I don't see any nests, which is good. And I've just been inside the car and I don't smell anything, so I think we survived the winter. So that's always a risk, storing in the country in a barn. Anyway, we'll see what kind of voltage we've got in the battery at the moment. And I did bring the booster pack with me if required. It may require something more than that, so we'll see what the status is, and we'll go from there. Not too bad for sitting a whole winter without being started, so we might get a few cranks out of it. Anyway, we shall see. I may need to use the booster pack, but at least she's not totally drained down. So we'll get some fuel flowing, we'll check the oil, and we'll spin it without the HT lead hooked up to the distributor, just to get some oil pressure going, and then we'll fire her up. Alright, we spun it up to just get some oil pressure without the HT lead connected, and we pretty much drained the battery in the process, or close to it. So we've got the booster pack hooked up. We'll let it sit for a couple of minutes, and we'll give her another shot. Choke is out, and we've got the carbs primed with the pump on the lever on the fuel pump. So let's give her a shot. Cross your fingers. Come on, baby. Come on. There we go. Good girl. Good oil pressure. Alright, we'll get that pack off there, and we'll let it warm up. There's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the spray that comes out of the exhaust, and this pretty much does this on every Triumph that I've seen, so it's not unusual. So you just got to sort of plan for, if you have a car behind you, you want to kind of move forward a little bit before you crank it up, especially if you've been sitting overnight and you've got lots of condensation in the muffler. Anyway, it sounds not too bad. Got some pretty old gas in it, and we'll just let her warm up, and we'll just move her around the parking lot a little bit, and we'll see if we can get this one started behind. I'm basically trying to get this, one of the reasons we're doing this is I'm trying to get this compressor home to my garage at home, so that's going to entail me moving a couple cars to be able to move that out. So I've got some company coming to give me a hand tomorrow, special guest appearance, and I thought I would come up today and do as much pre-work as possible to be able to get this done fairly efficiently tomorrow. So that's the task for tomorrow, but today's task is to move some cars and start some cars. Alright. Yeah, really good to hear it running again. So this is what Cutworms is going to look like in a few weeks' time, after he finishes with the Mustang. This is the original color on this car. This is called New White. I know Stevie's going with a Wimbledon White, which I think it's got a little bit more beige in it. Still looks to be in pretty good shape. I did this restoration on this car, got to be 11 years ago now. And it's had quite a few miles on it and quite a few long trips, so it seems to be surviving pretty well. Alright, enough playing around. Okay, one for one so far. Let's see if we can get the green Capri started. And usually this one's pretty easy to start, but we shall see in a moment. So this is a 73 Capri, and this thing starts every time. Doesn't matter how long it's been sitting. In very good original condition. Needs a little bit of exhaust work. Got a little exhaust leak at the front. All right, 2 for 2. Which would you rather have? Or maybe we can find you something else in the garage that you like. Alright, just coming up to 120 and we're heading back home. We're on a little back road called Herald Road, spelled like the Triumph Herald, so it's kind of appropriate. Anyway, it was fun to hear the TR6 up and running again. It's been a long winter up here. So the ultimate plan is to now get the 60 TR3 out of its storage location beside the TR6 and get that started up, and that will be the first car that we bring home for the spring. It has a few spring projects that are needed, including the painting of the bonnet. The top side's got a few little imperfections that I'm not happy with, so we're going to be doing that probably within the next few weeks, hopefully. So the 250 will take a little bit of a back seat at some point so we can get the cars out and running for the summer. But it has to be that way. I'm not going to go the whole summer without driving the cars that I have up and running. So we'll spend time between working on the 250 and driving the vehicles and doing some other social stuff, including family stuff, as I'd mentioned. So that's it for now. We'll see you when we get back to the garage. Must have been payday today. Look at that. 2 brand new pairs of gloves. So it should be good for another couple weeks.